Hello and welcome. So this is our lab 8 chemical reactions. So in this lab we are going to do few chemical reactions. So let's look at reaction number 1. So for reaction number 1 I have sodium carbonate, and I have the vinegar acetic acid. So we will be adding 5 drops of each into a test tube and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to add the sodium carbonate 5 drops. To it I'm adding the acetic acid. Okay, so here I can see some bubbles appear. So bubbles of carbon dioxide looks like appearing. So you can see the bubbles appear. Okay. So here in this reaction, some bubbles appear. Let's look at number 2, reaction number 2. So we are going to take again the acetic acid, react it with sodium hydroxide, and then we are going to add phenolphthalein and see how many drops this takes. So let's add 5 drops of acetic acid. Five drops of sodium hydroxide. Alright, so you want to add phenolphthalein also 1 drop. Alright, so let me do it again. So I have to add first the acetic acid. So I'm adding acetic acid 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me add the indicator phenolphthalein 1 drop. And then I'm going to count how many drops of sodium hydroxide do I need. I'm going to add sodium hydroxide and count how many drops do I need to convert the solution from colorless to pink. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I needed 5 drops for it to go from colorless. As I added the drop, it became white, and finally now it's pink. So I needed 5 drops of my phenolphthalein. So that's reaction number 2, reaction of vinegar, acetic acid, and sodium hydroxide. Reaction 3, so we are going to take barium nitrate we're going to take barium nitrate and we are going to react it with sodium sulfate, Take 5 drops of barium nitrate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add 5 drops of sodium sulfate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you can see here, I see a white, the solution turns white, and if I leave it for a few minutes, I'm going to see clear solution on the top and a white precipitate. So this, we can call it a precipitate, a white precipitate of barium sulfate. So that's reaction number 3. Reaction number 4 is actually a repeat of reaction number 1. So I can do it. So we need to use sodium carbonate and acetic acid. So 5 drops of sodium carbonate and add the acetic acid to it. Okay, and this is showing me the bubbles formation. Bubble is forming. Bubble is forming. Bubble of carbon dioxide is forming. So that's reaction number 4, the same as reaction number 1. Let's move on. Let's move to the reaction number 5. So we are going to use sodium nitrate and sodium chloride. So add 5 drops. Sodium chloride. So the solution is clear. Nothing is going on. There is no reaction. No reaction in this case. No reaction. Sixth reaction would be taking some zinc and adding HCl to it. This is a mossy zinc. This is a piece of mossy zinc. I'm going to put it in my test tube. And I have HCl 4 molar. So let's add the HCl to the mossy zinc. And I clearly see some bubbles appear. So on the zinc surface, so there is some bubbles appearing, and this is the same reaction that we did in lab 6, the physical and chemical properties. So zinc is reacting with hydrochloric acid and producing hydrogen gas. So that's reaction number 6. Seven is a repeat of number 3. So where we are reacting sodium sulfate and barium nitrate. So we have sodium nitrate and sodium sulfate and barium nitrate. So we have sodium sulfate, we have barium nitrate. So as I said, this is repeat of number 3. So I'll add sodium sulfate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll add 5 drops of barium nitrate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see the white solid formation. So this gives us a white precipitate of barium sulfate. So that's number 7, reaction number 7. Reaction 8, we are going to use the sulfuric acid H2SO4. We are going to react it with the sodium hydroxide, and we are going to add phenolphthalein again, count how many drops of sodium hydroxide do we need. I'm going to add 5 drops of my sulfuric acid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to add my phenolphthalein. I'm going to add 1 drop of phenolphthalein. And I'm going to now take the sodium hydroxide solution and add it and count the drops. So let's add and count the drops. How many does it need to get to pig? 1, 2. Okay. So I only needed 2 drops to go from colorless to pink. Okay. So I only needed 2 drops of my sodium hydroxide to go from colorless to pink. So this is my reaction of acid, sulfuric acid, and base sodium hydroxide, acid-base reaction. For number 9, that's the reaction of copper and zinc. Zinc growing on copper, which we have been doing from, we did it in chapter lab 2, we did it in lab 6, and I'm not going to repeat it. So we would take a piece of copper, put it in a solution of silver nitrate, and as you can see here, so silver will be growing on the copper surface. So this is a redox reaction. The silver in the solution gets electron from the copper, and copper goes into the solution, and that's why the solution is bluish in color. And the silver in the solution, as it gets electron, it becomes silver atom and gets deposited on the surface of copper. So that's the reaction of copper and zinc. Copper and silver nitrate that we have seen. This is the 3rd time we have seen this reaction, right? So this is a redox reaction. And finally, the last reaction is the reaction of magnesium burning, the burning of magnesium. So let's look at this reaction. So I will take a piece of magnesium ribbon. I have a piece of magnesium ribbon. So you guys, I light the burner and heat my magnesium wire. So you guys watch and see what happens. so it burns with a white flame, as you can see here. So magnesium reacts with oxygen and becomes magnesium oxide. So this is a synthesis reaction, or we can call it a redox reaction, because it's a burning of magnesium, combustion reaction, we can call it. So that's it for this lab. So now report the observations and think about the chemical reactions and the balanced chemical equation, and complete the lab. So that's it for this lab. Bye-bye.